YWCA, we're the women of today. YWCA, no more on the run. YWCA, we're the women of today. YWCA, no more on the run. Discover YWCA, we're the women of today. YWCA, no more on the run. Discover yourself. YWCA, we're the women of today. Discover yourself. We got the power on the run. Discover yourself. Discover yourself.
The Young Women's Christian Association of the Philippines is a private, non-stock, non-profit, non-sectarian, service-oriented, and charitable organization which was founded in 1948.
YWCA aims to develop the physical, social, intellectual, moral, and spiritual well-being of women and girls in accordance with the Christian ideals for which the movement is deeply rooted. The goal of the YWCA are to bring about quality of life, to develop women as change leaders and members in body, mind, and spirit, to engage in selfless Christian service, and to empower women and girls in dynamic partnership with men and service groups toward total transformation. The Young Women's Christian Association is founded in 1855 by Emma Roberts and Lady Mary Jane Kinnear. These two agreed to consolidate their efforts for a common cause during the Crimean War. In the Philippines, a similar interest group, the Time Investment Club, founded in 1921 under the leadership of Mrs. Felicissima Balgosa Barza, became the nucleus of the YWCA movement in the country. The first YWCA was officially organized in October 1926, which is the YWCA of Manila. Its first honorary president was Mrs. Aurora A. Quezon. This was followed by the organization of YWCAs of Baguio and San Pablo, thus the need to have a national organization. Dr. Jose Fajar Martinez was the first chairperson of the provisional board who worked on the establishment of the YWCA of the Philippines. And on February 14, 1948, the YWCA of the Philippines was formally created with Dr. Flora Ilagan as the first national president. The YWCA of the Philippines was admitted as a corresponding member of the World YWCA during the World Council meeting in Nanchao, China in 1948 and was taken in as an active member at the World Council meeting in Beirut, Lebanon in 1951. It is linked with other national YWCA in about 100 countries around the world through the World YWCA, whose headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. The YWCA is at work in the Philippines through groups such as YBUDS, who is elementary school girls, Y Teens organized in secondary school, Student Y organized in colleges and universities, Young Professional and the Adult Warriors. There is also the Community Youth Club, whose members either be in school or out of school. The YWCA of the Philippines has over 20 local associations all over the country and serves over 50,000 people through these local associations. Local Association from Northern Luzon, Local Association from Southern Luzon, Local Association from Visayas Region, and Local Association from Mindanao. YWCA leadership headed by Mrs. Lilia A. Farinas, National President, Ms. Marla May A. Baez, National Youth Coordinating or NYCC President, and Mrs. Nerissa B. Liena, National Executive Director. YWCA of the Philippines Legal Mandate. Affiliated with World YWCA. Programs and services are accredited by the Department of Social and Welfare and Development. We partner with other organizations like YMCA, GSP, NCWP, Renewable Energy Coalition, PhilCADSA, FAWA Philippines. Our local association partner with DepEd, CSWDO, and other entities. YWCA pioneered in health and recreation, introduction of physical education in the school curriculum, adult education, community center, camping for girls, youth work, residents, and ecumenical movement. Here are the YWCA strategic actions and accomplishments.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, special guests, and fellow Wires. Welcome to the Y Talk series. As you can see from our videos earlier, we already had a number of these talks since its launch last February 2020. They are sponsored by the YWCA of the Philippines with a partner organization. And for the next 6 months, starting today, we will be having the speakers and counselors of Amara Counseling and Training Center. The schedule will be every second Saturday of the month, so please save the date. Second Saturday of the month until January, same time, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Moving on, our topic for today is self care and management during the pandemic. We all long for this quarantine season to be over, but apparently, we all need to learn how to live with the new normal. So later on, our guest speaker will be sharing with us tips on how to cope with the challenges of COVID 19. We will also be having a question and answer portion right after the talk. So just use the chat box to key in your question and please stay with us until the end. Before we begin our program this morning, let us start with showing respect to our Philippine flag. Please put your right hand over your left chest as we sing the Philippine national anthem.
Ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa gitid mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, gulat ka ng magigiw, sa manlulupin, di ka masisingil. Sa lahat ng sa sigaw at sa langit mong babang, maginang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nabibigin, ang bituin na araw na kailan pa may madilim. Lupa ng araw ng 100% buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang higaya na pag ay makakamit, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Now can we call on Mrs. Elizabeth L. Diaz, the President of YWCA Makati and a member of Global and Local Affairs Committee to lead us in our prayer for the pandemic.
Most compassionate Father, we have come together to pray for the healing touch of your Spirit on our people, our country, and the whole world who are now suffering from this COVID pandemic. In love and prayer and with your blessings, allow us to reach out to the thousands affected by this deadly virus, so that we may, within our limitations, share with them your divine mercy. May we all be consoled and strengthened by the loving kindness of Jesus Christ, your Son, whose death on the cross enables us to call on you for healing from this pandemic. Touch us, Lord, in our helplessness, so that we may become whole again, to give you everlasting glory and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you po, Tita Beth. Moving on with our program, now can we call on Mrs. Remedios Bicomong, the chairperson of the Global and Local Affairs Committee and past president of YWCA Quezon City, District 3, for the welcoming remarks.
Good morning, everybody. It is always heartwarming to see people being interested in gatherings like this, because they are going to learn new things and new ways in order to be able to better their lives. The Young Women's Christian Association of the Philippines, its staff, and the global and local affairs committees truly welcome you on this wide talk for this morning. These talks were patterned after the classic TED Talks that came out during the many years before this, pointing out many lessons to learn and new things to improve our daily lives. Some of those talks were how to declutter your rooms and other how-tos in order to be able to live a better life. The YWCA is celebrating more than 70 years of existence and has endeavored to pursue its three-pronged goal of nurturing the body, mind, and spirit of women and girls on their journey to being empowered. I have observed that all those years, the most shining moments of the YWCA have been those when they were interacting with the public through the many local associations that were performing their programs and projects in order to spread the message of the Y. These were being done through community outreach programs, disaster management, education assistance, and on a yearly basis, all these things are being done with spiritual growth and discipleship taking the lead. Many of our new members come in and register as members after they have listened to the many group talks that we have had in the past, like this. This morning's topic is going to be led by Pastor Archie de la Cruz, but we will hear more about him later. How have our lives been affected by the onset of COVID-19? What exactly are these variants that have been lately appearing to even aggravate our people's and the world's economic and social lives? And why is it important to take care of ourselves first before the other members of our households? These are only some of the questions that we hope to hear answers from Pastor Archie. And I guess all this will help us be ensured that our peace of mind is going to be there as we suggest and digest bit by bit the information that he is going to give us in regard to the many COVID victims and the many days to come. So welcome once again. Relax and keep in mind that although we are in God's hands, we have to keep our part, our share, in trying to stop this worldwide pandemic. And nothing else is going to be necessary other than our being careful to manage our health and lifestyle. Following the protocols of our pandemic here in the Philippines, I think we are all assured that we can stop this soon enough and enjoy a Merry Christmas. Until then, I want to thank you again for being here, for joining us, and for being able to bring your friends if you had, so that we can have more people benefit from the topic of today. Thank you.
Thank you po, Tita Remy, for that meaningful remarks and message. Now, can we call on Mrs. Marjorie Gomez, the resident counselor of Amara Counseling and Training Center, to give us a message on this collaboration with YWCA.
Warm greetings in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Speaking in behalf of our group, Amara Center for Family Counseling, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to you, YWCA, for giving us this very wonderful privilege to partner with you in providing relevant seminars and trainings to your members. These seminars and trainings will definitely be very useful and helpful, not only to alleviate difficult yet normal life situations, but may also help equip everyone by providing informative talks on mental health, improving the quality of our various relationships, and getting knowledge on how people could better prevent from developing mental health problems. Indeed, these obstacles in life have gotten even more tough. These days with the pandemic that hit not only the country, but most parts of the world. And this is the new and the now normal that we learn to embrace and have been learning to adjust to. We have been doing many things virtually, now more than ever. Thank you to the modern day technology, appreciating the amazing and unlimited provision from the Lord. We simply have to open the eyes of our hearts to them and trust God in His bountiful, moment by moment, ever arriving grace to all who place their trust in Him. Once again, we are truly glad and honored to be chosen to partner with you, and may this endeavor mark the beginning of more partnerships between Amara and YWCA. God bless us all.
Thank you, Miss May. Now, can we call on Mrs. Nerissa Liena, the National Executive Director of YWCA of the Philippines, to acknowledge our guests and participants.
Pleasant afternoon to all. Anybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Daniela, for that. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the participants and guests of this morning's webinar as part of the Y Talk series. Of course, we would like to acknowledge our speaker for this morning's activity, Pastor Archie Dela Cruz of Amara Counseling Training Center. He will be introduced properly later. We would like to acknowledge also the presence of the National Council officers led by our National President, Mrs. Lilia A. Cariñas, our Vice President for Program and Membership, Dr. Early Datario. With us also is the Treasurer of the National Council, Ms. Sunny Beth Gracela, and Member Jessica Debuton. We are very fortunate that we have the whole membership of the Committee of the Global and Local Affairs in full force, who are responsible for this morning's webinar, led by the chairperson, Mrs. Remedios O. Bicomong. Of course, we have Mrs. Elizabeth Diaz, who is also the president of our YWCA of Makati. We have also Miss Rachel Dela Cruz, President of YWCA of Quezon City, and Miss Marcia O. Bicomong, member of the committee and officer of the YWCA of Quezon City. We were fortunate to have different local associations from north to the Visayas. We have the representative from YWCA of Vigan. From the Southern Luzon cluster, we have the YWCA of San Pablo, YWCA of San Jose del Monte, Bulacan, YWCA of Makati, of course, YWCA of Quezon City, District 3, and YWCA of Dumaguete with their president, Ms. Nenita Taiko. We were also would like to acknowledge the different participants who registered in this morning's webinar. From Kalipay National High School, from Arsenio C. Herrera Elementary School. We have participants from Bicol University, from Philippine Academy of Sakya. Also, we have the Paris Youth Apostoles Romansi Villalon Memorial College Foundation. We have participants all the way from Guimaras State College. From the FINMA Upang College Urdaneta, Pangasinan, University of Pangasinan. Also interested to really learn from this webinar are from a participant from the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Corbel Foundation College, we have some participants coming from that college. We have participants also from UP of Cebu. From the Active Moro Alliance for Development, thank you for coming po. Of course, from the Polytechnic University, we're coming back from north to south of the country. We're going back to Manila, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Central Mindanao University, Concepcion Elementary School, Malabon, DepEd NCR, Malabon City, San Martin National High School, Mindanao State University, Iligan Institute. Then we have participants from Raha Soliman Science and Technology High School. Then we go back to Nueva Ecija from the Divina Pastora College and Tarlac Agricultural University. Of course, yung suki na namin is from the participants from University of Batangas, Malayan Colleges of Laguna. And we have participants from the University of Northern Philippines. This is in Ilocos. So thank you so much for coming. And we hope that you will all learn from this morning's activity. We are all excited to listen to our resource person as we are still in this pandemic. And we hope this would provide us with the information. How do we take care of ourselves mentally, physically, and emotionally, as what the YWCA trusts to develop the mind, the body, and the spirit. Good morning to everyone.
Thank you very much po, Ma'am Neri. Proceeding to today's Y Talk, may we now call on Mrs. Lilia Farinas, the President of YWCA of the Philippines, for the President's message.
We're having technical problems on the message of our president. She's from Baguio, so I think the internet concern is our concern right now. So we hope to get that message anytime during the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you po. So let's move on. To introduce our guest speaker, can we call on Miss Marcia Bicomong, the Treasurer of YWCA Quezon City District 3 and member of the Global and Local Affairs Committee.
Good morning, one and all. We are truly honored to give to you our speaker for today. He is he's a resident counselor of our Amara Center for Counseling Center, of which I am also a part of. And he has a Master of Arts in Counseling in Asian Theological Seminary. He is also the Associate Pastor of Christian Gospel Church and a counselor of the Paglinang Student Center of Compassion Philippines. He is also an on-call trainer and counselor of CBN Asia or the 700 Club, and a counselor broadcaster in 104 Dewey Care FM. Ladies and gentlemen, one and all, we would like to welcome our speaker for today, Mr. and Pastor Archie de la Cruz.
Thank you, Miss Marcia, for that very generous and kind introduction. Gusto ko sabihin sa inyo na sobrang grateful po ako at very honored to be part of this very special event. I wish to sound it very cliche-ish, pero, you know, especially Tita Remy, how I see myself as an adopted member of why, you know, because there are numerous times that I get to really savor and be thankful to God sa mga opportunities to keep touching lives, to integrate our giftedness, yung passion natin to serve, to impact the community towards holistic transformation, which is also my passion or our advocacy sa Amara. So I believe, no, God is very honored whenever we pull together our resources at this heart for the active working of God in the lives of individuals and families and society, which I believe will result or do something to improve the lives of everyone. So again, sabi nung ating presidente kanina at yung mga unang nagsalita ay with much anticipation at saka hope and faith to the Lord, it's going to be very meaningful. Marami tayong take home. Kasi kung iisipin natin, wala namang mga lagat mag-iintindi sa ating mga sarili, una't higit sa lahat, hindi tayo rin. Sabi nga ni Henry Nawen sa kanyang book na The Wounded Healer, before we get to help others in their own wounding, we have to pay attention to our wounding as well. That's why he was able to encapsulate yung tinatawag na wounded healers, and we are like that. No, we do not dismiss our own struggles and our own pains and heartaches. At the same time, being given the opportunity to be of ministry and service to other people. So what I'd like to share with you today has something to do with taking care of ourselves, no, in the midst of pandemic. I know, my friends, that my assumption is that some of you may have heard or watched or participated in some talks like this. But as I was talking to Ms. Rachel, the president of YWCA-QC District 3, we get to learn something new, no, and get to apply them wisely in our daily life as we continue to struggle. So I hope to brace yourselves, brace on your seats, and then keep your hearts and minds open, and I shall be very happy to entertain and accommodate some of your questions that are very relevant to our topic. This is first to let you know that since last year, middle of early 2020, ang kapuso mo, Jessica Soho, some of you have been avid fan or parang supporter ng program na yon. Naglabas sila ng appeal in lieu with some recommendations from psychologists and psychiatrists that to experience anxiety and depression, at least mild depression, is now considered normal. If I may also add, ako din as a counselor, I would know kung may mga early symptoms or mga red flags that are being raised in the air na alam ko na I'm being anxious. Okay, I know that when things are piling up and I'm being too stressed, it may lead to some sort of anxiety at kung hahayaan ko ay magiging depression. So ang appeal nito, my friends, in the occasion that some of you who are with me this morning ay naka-identify kayo after consulting from a professional counselor or psychologist, may mga possible symptoms ng anxiety, depression. Now, my friends, you are normal. Ang appeal nito ay to validate and normalize. Should you be experiencing some symptoms of it, lalo sa panahon ng pandemic? Kasi ang tendency kasi natin, kapag may mga socio-emotional, may mga mental, mga unusual things or responses to unfamiliar situation, we panic. No, we become anxious kahit wala namang history sa family, pero it seems na ito ay acquired or learned. Number one is that for you to pacify yourself, normalize it. May isa pa among the teenagers at mga young professionals because of their inability to be more resilient in a crisis like this compared sa mga 80s and 70s and 60s. I will not name who you are, no? But it seems that the younger generations are still struggling with the need to be more resilient. Na mabilis withdraw, mag-isolate. Ngayon, the problem, itong panahon ng pandemic, we were all tested. No? Ang mga bagay-bagay ay kailangan tayong mag-adapt, mag-adjust. At especially last night, I have a 2-hour counseling, and then it seems that the person is suffering from what we call dysthymia. Kaya sabi niya, for more than a year, I feel like my life has been repetitive, monotonous, and becoming boring. No, sabi niya, natatakot ako na baka may depression ako samantalang wala naman kaming ano. So after describing yung mga manifestations, sabi ko, I believe my take on this case is you're suffering from dysthymia, which is also another form of depression actually. But it can be manageable compared sa mga clinical o severe cases nito. It's more than just being sad or lonely, but when life does not seem to get anywhere or being excited, or walang mga bagong, let's say, mga amusement or entertainment o mga good diversion, wala talagang choice kundi talagang mag-suffer from the monotonous of the things that are going your way. Now, months ago, naglabas ang New York Times about the concept because in the midst of this mental health issues, victimizing people across the globe, meron silang naging pag-aaral after extensive studies that yung konsepto ng languishing, isang common term that has been happening among particularly the young professionals and the young people. What is languishing? According to the studies, it is a sense of stagnation and emptiness. Parang feeling mo you have everything. May pera naman, may yaman naman, tapos parang everything seems to be going well, you have good relationship, and your business is kind of surviving, pero you suddenly realize you are being stagnated. You feel empty. It wasn't burnout or depression at all, no? You just somehow would feel that joyless and aimless, parang trumpo yung top that is spinning around. Sabi ng mga experts, social expert, that stage of your life is called languishing. So we have existential anxiety and depression. We have dysthymia, more than just loneliness or sadness. Now we have languishing. Can you imagine these terms probably may be new to you? So very interesting, how do we battle or how do we deal with them head on? Kahapon, I was trying to gauge, because if I would ask every one of you, who among you here have been faithfully or dutifully monitoring the cases that DOH and UN in lieu with the outcome of the effects of COVID-19 plus the new Delta variant plus the Lambda that is being studied nowadays. No, as of 2 days ago, parang ito yung ating survey. I'm sure medyo hindi pa to ganun ka 100% sapagkat may mga unreported cases pa rin that are being studied. And accordingly, noong August 12, 2 days ago, this was the second highest so far ever recorded since last year that we had pandemic. Pataas ng pataas. No, ang alam ko, lahat tayo, we are just keeping our fingers tightly crossed, and wala tayong laman ng prayer request kundi sana matapos ito, masolusyonan. Aside from vaccine, what else can we do? Aside from lockdown, aside from the ayuda that has been coming late, kung meron man, what else can we do to spare ourselves and even our loved ones? Let's face it, no? Kahit kami sa counseling, yung aming mga practices ay if there's one major trigger ng kanilang mga anxiety and depression, that's something to do with some fears related to COVID. Now, this is one, the same day, 2 days ago, this was being released by GMA na 24 oras. Tapos parang lieu with it's a body that's connected to paying attention to the further impact of the Delta variant. Even yung mga bata, even yung mga sanggol, they are now being targeted. Now, this is very alarming sapagkat apparently the rates are increasing. I don't mean to pose more threats to all of us, but my intention is that we get to educate ourselves, we heighten our consciousness so that we would come up with mindful, God-honoring, life-giving decisions as to how do we adopt and how do we practice, no, mga safety precautions, mga health protocols, at be more parang mindful of some things that are mandatory. Ngayon, since if the kids who are inside our house who are not yet ready for vaccination, tapos parang they are most vulnerable and susceptible to this new variant, ang proposal ngayon ng DOH at ang proposal ngayon ng mga international governing bodies related to health, even that Dr. Vivek Murthy, yung chief health and legal consultant ni President-elect Joe Biden, ang sabi niya, dalawa lang din naman eh. Number one, adhere to the minimum safety protocols, no? Vaccine, alcohol, washing, bathing yourself, and then taking care of yourself, parang strengthening our immune system, food, diet, no, at staying away from mass gathering. Sabi niya, at pangalawa, sabi niya, you have to be vaccinated. You have to be vaccinated. There's this rumor that has been going on na parang kaliwat kanan na naging baseless din naman. Pero sabi niya, we have to seize or avail whatever is being available sa atin, sapagkat still vaccinated, we are significantly protected somehow. But it does not mean you'll be spared from the virus, pero ang nito ay we are somehow being significantly protected. So in the occasion that some of you have not yet scheduled or inquired kung saan meron, let me encourage you from my heart, since I care for all of you and we care for one another. If you love your family, if you would like to pay attention to your children, to your grandchildren, have yourself vaccinated. Kasi mahirap yun eh. Mas mahirap i-deal yung guilt kapag tayo mismo ay magiging cause, maging carrier tayo, even though hindi tayo lumalabas, that we are endangering the lives of our loved ones. So please do vaccinate yourself and avail kung saan pwedeng makakuha niyan. Now, ano yung mga effects with all these things that we have been talking, yung mga socio-emotional, mental, tsaka holistic effects to us as we all struggle in the midst of pandemic, no? Of course, our anxiety and depression is being heightened. Tumataas, nag-escalate, if I may ask, no? Padami ng padami, pataas na pataas. And then, when you are like that, you begin to be lonely. No? Bukod sa dysthymia, bukod sa languishing, you become lonely and you become frustrated, meaning there are things that you would like to do, like going to Ever or going to the Trinoma to buy something, but you cannot do that easily because it's not that safe anymore. So you're being limited to the confines of your house. No, you cannot meet your friends and do beso and perhaps buy 2 glasses of avocadoria, no, in your favorite mall or shops, and so on and so forth. Tapos some people, especially yung the younger ones, I tell you that the millennials, the Gen Zs, no, they would not naturally, no, unconsciously indulge themselves to harmful diversions, such as vices. This is a secret. Sige na, hindi na sa secret. Majority of my male counselees, no, young professionals and teenagers, nag-i-increase yung kanilang indulgence to pornography at masturbation because of loneliness, because of anxiety, mga temporary relief of pains and paranoia and anxiety. Doon sila nag-divert in the middle of the night when everyone seems to be sleeping at mabilis ang internet, and that's a sad reality. No, it's a sad reality that's been happening, at least sa cases ko sa counseling. When all these things have been piling up, no, nag-heighten, nag-escalate, nag-increase yung hopelessness and helplessness, which is very, very important. Pinapalakas namin ito to promote resilience, to keep fighting, to keep themselves functioning and delivering. Kahit na may mga struggles siya. Nakapag-aral pa din, nakapag-report pa rin sa office, conscious pa rin ng mga deliverables. Pero the moment, parang nag-snowball ang hopelessness, wala na talaga magagawa at walang makatulong sa akin, we will all die. Yung ganun mga kaisipan. Now, that's one of the major red flags that we are addressing sa mental health. So watch out. No? Baka mamaya nangyayari sa atin yan. Kapag yan na nangyari, you feel socially disconnected to your loved ones and to your other significant relationship. Parang you feel isolated. Meron kang isolation, withdrawal. You don't feel like, ayaw mo nang kinukumusta. Ayaw mo nang tinatanong. Tapos you would parang hindi ka na nagsising sa mga group chat. You don't like being reached out and so on and so forth. You become restless. You cannot sleep very well. You cannot recharge. Kahit na umiinom ka na halimbawa ng gamot, pampatulog, there is the following day you feel you feel tired. You still feel exhausted. You become pessimistic. Parang tingin mo sa mga bagay-bagay at negatibo, and you become volatile. Volatile mean you easily explode. You easily lash out to people around you. Masakit kung family members. You cannot regulate, no? Yung ano mo, yung tendency mo to verbalize or and shout and to nag to people na kahit yung mga bagay na ano ay mabilis kang ma-piece off. That's volatility. And then when these things happen, you tend to forget about yourself. Nawawalan tayo ng pangalaga sa sarili. Hindi tayo kumakain sa oras, hindi tayo conscious na natulog pa rin tayo dapat ng ganito, hindi na tayo nakaupulan tayo, lumalaki ang bilbil, wala tayong gano'n, kundi mag-Candy Crush na lang, o kaya may LOL, o mag Call of Duty, at iba pa sa atin, baka naglalaro, parang hindi na tayo conscious sa oras. We are making ourselves vulnerable. Now, what is our strategy? Well, our strategy, isa lang naman. Even in the midst of pandemic, we all the more double our tendency to keep developing or tendency or decision to keep developing good mental hygiene. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, it is the science of maintaining mental health and preventing the development of psychosis, neurosis, or other mental disorders. So when I say mental hygiene, ito'y holistic. When I say holistic, you pay attention to your physical bodies, to the condition of your mind or your brain, to your feelings, to your emotions, to socio-emotional self natin, and then also to our spirituality. Yes, you heard me right, my friends. Kasama doon ang spirituality, because these four components of our existence and being, tawag sa kanya ay the holistic self. No? And mental hygiene is not just about yung utak o kalagayan ng utak na that is prone to psychosis or neurosis, because everything starts in the brain, no? At meron siyang domino effect to the other facets of our self. So we will pay attention to that, to those four, in lieu with the tips that I will be sharing with you today. I just did the introduction, and then understanding how pandemic stress has been causing us. Tapos ano yung mga personal self-care tips at ano ang interlace ng stress to our spirituality towards spiritual growth or spiritual formation. Now, talking about stress, alam ko na bago mag-pandemic, talamak na, no, usap-usapan na how do we manage the stress and burnout. That's before the pandemic. And there have been talks, seminars, at mga coaching, no, that are being done left and right to keep ourselves productive. No, para tayo ay nag-deliver pa din. Kasi career-driven ang iba sa atin, tsaka kahit matanda na, we realize we still have that sense of worth at significance to an organization, to our family. Hindi porke matanda na tayo ay no offense, no, ay parang na tayo, nasa pre-departure na, but we're still capable of delivering and working and contributing, di ba? Anyways, na-stress pa rin tayo bago mag-pandemic, pero na-heighten nga siya sa panahon ng pandemic. Stress is simply defined as a state that is subject to tension or pressure. Pag may dapat gawin, pag may project, pag meron tayong dapat i-deliver, pag meron tayong dapat na asikasuhin, no? Pag meron tayong, especially when we work with other people. So kapag may tension or pressure, you're being stressed. Ang nakatawa dito, pag nawala yung stressor, pag natapos ang isang project, the stress is gone also. So ganoon lang kasimple yun. Now, what's burnout? It is the result. Burnout is the result of cumulative stress and work with people over an extended period of time. Kapag ang stress, dinismiss, pinabayaan, naging complacent tayo, at parang nagdili-dali tayo, nag-procrastinate sa mga bagay-bagay that we should be working on, no, parang scheduling, ay you will eventually suffer from being burned out. Ang fatigue naman, it is the extreme tiredness o parang the extremities of all these things, no? Typically resulting from mental or physical exertion or illness. Diyan kadalasan nire-rehab na yan at nag-undergo niya ng medication. Sapagkat hindi natin maiwasan na may mga bagay that are beyond our control and we cannot manage the way how we think and the way how we engage ourselves to the demands of the people and that we're working with. So let's try to look na lang. Whether sa panahon ng pandemic o bago pandemic, how do these things parang define a common denomination, a common ground in lieu with our self, and how do we manage all these things? Nangyayari yung feeling ng helplessness and worthlessness pa rin. So kapag feeling wala kang silbi, parang for the lack of term, ang term na iba'y inutil, no? You're feeling insignificant, wala kang magagawa, wala kang mako-contribute. When you're being stressed or burnt out, yung ano pa rin, heightened yung emotional volatility, you explode, you cannot regulate your emotions or your anger, no? And then you become angry at those making demands, especially when you work with a supervisor or boss na parang just following up or reminding you, mabilis ka nagagalit, nagiging personalan na. You become suspicious. Parang ang worst pa nito, yung suspicious can also snowball into paranoia. No, yun ang medyo masakit yan. It's not a good state. It's not a good mental state. You become pessimistic also, just like yung manifestation ng mga mental health disorders. And then you become apathetic. Apathy is the exact opposite of empathy and sympathy, which are very positive emotional responses. Sa kapaligiran at kapag ang apathy nangyari, probably ang cause ito ay strongly linked with suffering from compassion fatigue. Kapag iba sa atin ay very busy tayo, nagmamalasakit, nangasiwa sa mga taong helpless, sa mga needy, loved ones especially na parang sometimes ay becoming stubborn or parang nagiging may mga recurring nagiging yung mga insubordination, disobedience, and so on and so forth. It's so difficult. So compassion is something that we get to always be replenished in ourselves for us to become better instruments or channels of God's grace and mercy to other people. Nandun pa rin yung frustration tsaka depression. When you are stressed and burned out, you feel unable, you feel limited, no, the things that you can do, which is nangyayari talaga. And you become depressed, especially pag ito yung nagpa-pile up. You become unexcited about your life. If you are a student, even your studies, hindi lang siya basta dysthymia, hindi lang basta parang mere form of anxiety. You lose all the adrenaline or the motivation to study and even work. No, and that's very, very common. And then nothing precious coming out. Parang wala ka nang maisip. You're being stagnated, no, in lieu with what we discussed kanina. Now, how do we self-care? Ano yung mga coping styles natin that are very doable holistically, physically, mentally, socio-emotionally, as well as spiritually? Let me share with you some. Okay. Number one is, let's do with the very basic, no? Contact with nature is very important. Some experts would call this green therapy. Green therapy. According to some experts, of all the colors, no, kadalasan daw kasi ang blue is something to do with peace, no? Tama ba? Peace. But sa panahon na tayo nasa pandemic, everything is being done online. Ano nangyayari? This is in relation to how my optometrist friends would relate to me, ha. Madalas sa atin, karamihan sa atin, tumataas yung mga grado ng ating mga salamin, lumalabong ating mga mata, akala natin tayo na-vertigo. Tapos parang yung naniningkit tayo, lahat tayo nagiging Chinese, no? Parang minsan, yung mga nearsighted, lalo nagiging nearsighted. Yung mga farsighted, lalo nagiging farsighted. At nagkakaroon tayo ng mga pulsating feelings circulating our eyes. Sabi niya, the eyes are being strained. Kaya ang daming trabaho ngayon ng mga optometrist. Ina-adjust yung mga lente ng ating mga salamin. Sapagkat lahat tayo online ngayon. At wala tayong, pagkatapos ng work, manonood pa tayo ng Netflix, maglalaro pa tayo ng Candy Crush. So what happens to our eyes? They become so stressed. Now, ang suggestion nila, from time to time, we pause from our screen time and look far, no? So 20, ba yan? I heard this from Miss Marcia, no? 20 feet ba ang distance? Look far. Tama ba yun? 20 feet ang distance. Tapos, let your eyes parang be refrained from looking closer to a gadget na mga radiation and so on and so forth. But to make it more specific, no, stare to something that's color green, because green apparently is therapeutic to the eyes. Of all the colors, no, green is therapeutic to the eyes. Kaya, blessed are those who are plantitas, no, here in the house. No, let me congratulate you. You have actually given yourself, without you knowing it, a dose of daily dose of medicine for yourself. Stare to something that's green because you're doing yourself a good break. Pangalawa, no, strive to find a balance in your work, family, and personal life. I know, parang sabi ni Dr. Randy De Leosa, one of our lecturers sa ATS, a renowned psychiatrist of the stars, Sabi niya, the problem with the pandemic is that we keep adapting. I hope we have adapted na to distinguishing or defining a line between working from home and being at home. Kasi magkaiba dati yan bago pandemic, when you are being at home, you feel relaxed, chill with your family, watch basketball, watch your favorite telenovela, watch Provinciano, etc., etc. But now, everything is there in the confines of your house. So nagkakaroon ngayon ng intrusion, parang disorientation. So what to do is to try to find a balance in everything. Sabi ni Ecclesiastes, there is a time for everything. Scheduling is very, very important. Okay, and then it's very important then, napaka-vital then, we identify people who can mentor us and supervise us, also for accountability. Sapagkat alam natin, hindi tayo gano'ng kagaling sa Zoom. Kailangan i-guide tayo kung paano ba i-mega-unmute. Pagka mayroong mga Google Meet, pag may mga live stream tayo, paano ba mag-chat, paano magsasalita, paano ba makita yung video ko, o paano lagyan ng background, on how do I respond to a conversation, and so on and so forth. And how do I cope up with this? How do I handle my son? Diyan lumalabas yung mga professionals, no? As God would provide resources para sa atin to keep helping us, enabling us to adapt and to be supervised. Plan and prioritize. Ito ay mamaya I'll give you some more tip how to pick up some coping mechanisms when emergency situations would happen. And then assess, no? Kailangan ba ano yung mga bagay na dapat i-dismiss o i-delay at di kailangan nag-i-stress sa'yo sapagkat minsan may mga there are times or issues or areas in our lives where we need to dismiss or sort of dismiss ay parang dead ma because they're not worthy to eat our time or our energy. According to the Psychological Association of the Philippines, in which our mentor from family counseling ay an office is deeply involved with, sabi niya, we have to keep educating the people, especially mga counselists natin, on how to develop and follow a routine strictly. How do you do that? Kasi para malabanan, halimbawa, yung monotonous, saka depression and anxiety, kailangan you feel productive pa rin na given day. Maglilista ka per day, per week. What do I want to accomplish today? How many chapters do I need o parang realistically finish in a given day? So yung mga bagay na yan, parang like this, no? Parang in the morning or at the beginning of each week, ano yung mga bagay na gusto mong i-project throughout in a given day or week? Nakatawa yan. I've been doing this prior to the pandemic and I feel like my life is not wasted at all. No, hindi ako nagla-languish. Hindi ako magiging suffer from dysthymia. Because I'm very conscious of what I'm supposed to follow or deliver in a given period of time. Here's another one. The sense of space. Ang tawag nila dito ay the sacred space that is to be honored. I hope, and I'm making a good assumption that most of you would somehow have a good amount of space in your house. Hindi naman lahat sa inyo may mga study room. Hindi lahat tayo ay meron mga let's say mga library or mga office work, But here is a suggestion again from the PAP, Psychological Association of the Philippines. Sabi niya, identify which part of the house can be converted into a study room. Gumamit ka ng table, curtains, dividers o mga kortina, ng mga upuan lang. Tapos parang you put all your mga like ball pens, mga office work, mga paraphernalias like lampshade and your family picture. And all you need to do is that you consecrate that space for working or studying. If you're a student, you're not supposed to eat there or play there kasi that's intended for studying lang. If you're working, you put your laptop there, you put your charger there, and then talagang you feel like you're in the office because it will condition yourself and your mind and your body to work or to study. So it's very, very helpful. I tell you, this is very, I've done this at napatunayan ko na therapeutic siya at very helpful sa akin. Journal. Kasama to sa routine. Have the discipline of journaling, your experience, what happened significantly that day? Or did you follow a routine? You have to pat your back and congratulate yourself. Or did something special happen that day? Isulat mo yun. No? Can I just brag this a little bit? Since March 16, 2020, up to this day, never have I missed a day na hindi ako nakapag-journal. Yay! So it's possible, my friends. Kasi when there's a will, there's a way. Pag gusto, maraming paraan. Pag ayaw, maraming alibi at maraming dahilan. It helps me. It helps me to be more contemplative and reflective and grateful sapagkat alam ko na a day, you can never repeat a day, no? August 14, 2021 will never happen again. So I must maximize what can possibly be experienced at a given day. I put it in a journal. At doon ko nakikita how God has been truly, truly gracious and very patient and very compassionate of me. Kahit sa panahon ng pandemic, hindi siya nagbabago. Sabi sa scriptures, Jesus is yet the same yesterday, today, and forever. And we get to experience that, especially if we pay attention sa manifestation ng kanyang love and grace towards us. Now, if this is to let you know that it's okay to raise your hand if you are feeling some red flags or identifying some symptoms of mental struggles, o ibig sabihin physically, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. All you need to do is to raise your hand because it is believed to be the most courageous act of self-care. If you want to pay attention to yourself, to your body, to your holistic self, no, and things are not being manageable, it seems, raise your hand, no, and then say, I need help, I am struggling, and you cannot do it. You need significant assistance or help from other people who probably are expert on the things that you're struggling about. Okay, so don't forget that. There's no time to be very prideful o maglakas-takasan, magaling-galingan. Walang pinipili ito. One of the things that the COVID has taught us, pantay-pantay tayo, walang sinasanto. Kapag ka ikaw din na po, kaya pag ikaw din nag-struggle sa mga mental challenges of the pandemic. Sa mga experts, sa mga play therapies, dinidevelop nila yung deep breathing, which is not new to us, no? Kapag when some things are not going right, when you're palpitating, no? Kaya may mga rapid, parang yung mga rapid pulsating feeling, no? Ay tapos baka mag-pass out ka na lang. Sabi niya, pang emergency coping natin is that remember the gift of deep breathing. Pag sinabing deep breathing, ito yung para kailangan you have to straighten up your body. Hindi ka nakayuko, hindi ka naka-slouch, no? Kasi maliban na lang kung may scoliosis, no? Kailangan straighten up yan. Kailangan yung passage ng air natin ay malayang makakapasok at labas sa ating system. Sabi niya ng mga neuroscientists ay, do you know that it only takes 90 seconds to alter a feeling and calm down a tense system? They were very right. Sapagkat when you're about to explode, when you're about to lash out, o kaya naman ay parang malakas ang tibok ng puso mo, tutumba ka na, no? Isipin mo lang, kailangan humika ng malalalim. Ang ginagawa namin dito ay 6-5-9 breathing technique. How do you do that, sir? No? Yung first 6 seconds, you gradually inhale the oxygen. And then hold that for 5 seconds. And then slowly, gradually release the air for the next 9 seconds. And you have to keep doing it. Hanggang sa maramdaman mo, okay, I'm being relaxed. Marahang pumapasok ng hangin sa loob ng aking katawan at hindi na-relax na yung aking mga tensed muscles. And now, my brain is now functioning. Nakapag-isip na ako ng tama. Hindi na parang sasabog siya. No? That's the power of deep breathing. Ang tawag dyan, mula sa natin sa slide ay nervous system reset. Nervous system reset. It is very, very important. No? Sorry, nalaglag po ako. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Ayun, thank you. Pasensya na, things like this happen, and thank you for being patient. Give yourself a pat on your shoulder. Okay, so thank you for staying at hindi kayo hindi masyado nainip. Salamat. May God honor you and bless your good heart. Okay, next is that we strengthen our family bond. Ang paniniwala natin dito, kahit kami sa Amara, we put high premium on our family connection. Sapagkat at the end of the day, lagi naman tayong nasa at every single day we are always with our families whether we like it or not. At minsan nga because of over familiarity nakakasangilan na rin tayo no. How do we strengthen family bonding? Because whether tanggapin na natin hindi naman nagkamali si Lord na sila members ng ating family. There's no time to heighten or parang prolong yung mga tension sa mga hindi pag-uusap inside the confines of our house no. Instead, schedule eating together. No? Watch a movie together, Netflix, yung mga series na yan. Decide, buy a popcorn, magluto. O kaya naman parang engage everyone to watch everything kahit hindi mo sigurado kung gusto mo siya. Pero yung tawag doon ng mga neurologists yung mga intersubjectivity, when you realize all of you are doing one thing at the same time, no? The right brain to right brain connection, tawag nila intersubjectivity, is connecting, no? It binds us together as one. It fortifies our willingness to stand as one, whatever may happen to us, no? So ganun, share, no? Household chores, if you can, and accept them willfully, and joyfully, sapagkat nagiging madali yung mga bagay-bagay para sa atin kahit hindi tayo ganun ka-demonstrative of our affection and affirmation. Sabi ni Dr. Daniel Amen, no, kaway-kaway sa mga medyo walang taro sa pagkain dyan. He's an American neurologist at sa kanyang tip, sabi niya, we better be watchful or vigilant with the kind of food that we take in. Sapagkat, ang pag-aaral, Dr. Daniel Amen kasi being is a neurologist, brain scanning yung kanyang ginagawa. So sa kanyang brain scanning, nakita sa kanyang pag-aaral na yung mga tao na mahilig kumain ng mga fatty foods, mga imbalance ang diet, too much of and less yung mga brain food. Sabi niya, yung utak pala nila ay may turn, no? Too much soft drinks, okay, too much coffee, tapos wala mga fiber, walang protein. So nagkakalat-kalat pala yung mga clustering ng mga utak nila. Kaya parang nahihirapan iba makapag-focus, makakoncentrate. So sabi niya, we better start our taking care of ourselves by watching our diet. Wisely. No, watch your diet. No, ano yung mga brain vitamins at parang have the decision or parang the will this particular type of food kasi without you realizing it, mag-deteriorate yung ating mga utak. So that's from Dr. Daniel Amen. Now, siya rin nagsabi nito, no? Siya nagsabi nito. Lalo sa panahon ng tag-init na tropical kapag tayo ay may laging katabi na tubig. Sabi rin ng aking kaibigan, we better always regulate our parang sabihin, be mindful of the amounts of glasses of water that we take in every now and then because we keep ourselves hydrated. At saka parang lalo tayong na-freshen up kapag tayo ay umiinom. So magandang rin yun. Tapos, having said that, ito naman, according to nutritional psychiatrist, according sa mga nutritional psychiatrist, ang pag-i-stock ng mga ice cubes sa ating mga freezer ay nakatulong for emergency coping. Can you hear me po? I'm not sure if you can hear me pa.
Yes po, dinig po.
All right. Thank you so much. Now here's the thing. Sabi ng mga nutritional psychiatrist, bukod sa tubig, sabi niya, for emergency coping, mag-stock tayo ng mga ice cubes sa ating mga freezer. Kasi when some things are happening, parang medyo ma-alleviate ang isang tension o parang yung parang tightening of the muscles or parang feel na magka-pass out. Kadalasan sa atin kasi, di ba, white flour, ammonia. Sabi niya, try this one. No? Ice cubes, no? Kapag ilalagay yan sa ating mga bibig, tapos let it melt naturally, but please do not bite it because it will hurt the crown or the enamel of our teeth. Medyo masakit yan ng konti pag hindi ka sanay sa malalamig na bagay, pero ang tendency pala niyan, the brain will focus on the muscles of the mouth, no? Towards that cold object in there. Tapos it triggers or pushes yung ating salivary glands to produce yung mga necessary saliva to keep everything in functionality. Ganun pala yung rational. So as little as that ice cube, no, it can do wonders sa atin kapag some things are not working well at a given time. Bukod sa deep breathing, bukod halimbawa sa ibang diversion, ice cubes will help. Ice cubes will help. I hope I cannot I can emphasize this more, but you must have heard this ito bago sa inyo. Exercising is mandatory nowadays. Hindi man to parang yung mga hardcore na mga pag-ehersisyo, hindi kailangan mag-treadmill o kaya may mga dumbbells or mga weights in your house, but at least you can download 5-minute to 7-minute daily exercise. You just have to put in your mga sleeveless ninyo, pagtali sa ulo, tas mga cycling yun, hindi nasusuot na matagal na po. Now is your time to find them, no? And start to condition your bodies and start exercising. Ang gagawin natin ito, ginagawa siya not because for you to feel good, maging sexy ulit at para may upload ka sa Instagram o Facebook, no. The primary purpose nito is to produce a lot of natural hormones in the body called dopamines. And they're responsible to combating yung mga stress hormones, ang tawag sa kanila, depressive hormones, stress hormones, ang tawag collectively ay cortisols. So, hindi mo kinakailangan mag-take ng mga gamot from psychiatrists to combat that, but naturally our bodies are being designed by God to produce that hormone called dopamine, no, para nakukuha natin sa magitan ng mga daily exercises or workout. So yung mga, I encourage you, walang pinipiling edad dito, kahit mga konting twist na yan, mga kebot, mga konting zumba, nakatulong ng malaki to keep our bodies in shapes for the purpose of our normal functioning of our brain. Now, in lieu with physical activities, it is also directly linked to that. Being conscious of the amount of sleep that we get per night is very important. Ang tanong dyan, kung gabi ba natutulog, minsan nga iba sa atin madaling araw na tama ako, tama. So according to mga sleep therapist, may mga sleep therapist pala, no? So sa mga adult ay 6 hours is still ideal. Pero kung medyo bata-bata ka, sabi niya 7 to 9 hours will still be helpful. Kasi longer amount of sleep, no, will help our brain to reproduce more cells responsible for long. So you better condition, no, music, milk, o kaya konting exercise in the hapon, o kaya I do not do longer time to nap in the afternoon para hindi affected ang sleeping time sa gabi. Minsan may mga leg raising din, no, tsaka yung mga tawag dyan, yung mga conditioning for you to make sure that you're giving or rewarding yourself a good amount of sleep, no? Bahagi ng pagtitake ng ating mga sarili para mapalakasin ang ating immune system. Those who are prone na makontract ng virus ay mababa ang immune system. Alam na natin yan. Poor diet, walang exercise, masyadong maraming iniisip at kulang sa tulog. They are making themselves a very juicy candidate to contract the virus. So pinapadali nila ang kanilang mga buhay. I'm not sure how many of you here have pets in your house. So may tinatawag tayong pet therapy. Now we get to divert yung ating mga emotions and feelings and caring to sa isang mga bagay like mga hayop, no, para hindi masyado nakafocus sa ating mga personal struggle. And let me just tell you, no, humor is also very efficacious in giving therapy to ourselves. So find ways how to laugh and giggle, no, at amuse, to watch yung mga TikToks, and then find yung mga funny movies at makita natin ang buhay pa rin pala can still be balanced. Hindi lahat ay negativity, hindi lahat ay critical, no. Life is more beautiful when we realize humor is a gift from God para sa atin to balance our emotion. Iba sa atin stress because we are procrastinating, no? Hindi tayo marunong mag-budget ng oras. So anong nangyari niyan? Nagmamadali tayo, we panic, no? At we are giving ourselves a difficult time to juggle all things. So the antidote is eliminate hurry. Plan ahead of time. Slow down, no? At iwasan natin nagmamadali sapagkat we have all the time if we know how to manage it. Sabi naman ni Paul sa Philippians 4, develop that attitude of being contented, being grateful. Sabi ni Paul sa Philippians 4, I have learned to be content in whatever state that I am in. Sabi niya ganyan, I have learned how to choose my battles. No, hindi lahat ay dapat kong intindihin o stressin ako. No, the important is that I have developed that gratefulness attitude towards God, no, towards the people around me, the life, the capacity to help and to laugh and to eat and to walk. No, sabi niya doon, nagpapasalamat na ako. Therefore, I can simplify my life and honor God. Simplifying our life also means turning off and tuning in. Sometimes our stressor sa panahon ng pandemic is because we focus on too much politics, we focus on too much debts at mga mortality rates. We have not learned how to balance it, how to tune into the right source of hope and help, which comes from God. Minsan unplug, unfollow, no? Refrain from spending too much time on someone who talks senseless, no? In the wee hours of the night. But look how to strengthen our resiliency that comes from God. So learn about that. And then of course, seek professional help. Now, when some things are not going right, no? Sabi nga ng commercial, if symptoms persist, consult your professional helpers. You have guidance counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist, minsan ay ano lang naman physician. And other mental health advocates. Now, sa last part ng aking talk, I just like to because I said kanina, mental health is not just confined with mental or emotions or socio-emotional and physical. Spirituality, no, is also a part of that. According to Canada, Canadian Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry, religious attendance, pati mga spiritual activities can lower the risk of depression, etc. The study has found that regular attendance at religious services offers significant protection, quote-unquote, against depression. So, ibig sabihin, if a person would pay attention to the necessity of praying, meditating, listening, or Bible reading, sabi niya, we are developing that sense of resiliency that gives us significant protection. Ito ay study ito ay non-religious, non-government organization in Canada na nagpakita na yung kapag we be mindful of our spiritual practices, connection to God, consciousness of His help, at yung mga bagay that He communicates to us, tumataas yung ating spiritual resiliency to keep fighting. Sabi ni Paul naman, in lieu with what we call Adlian therapy, the gift of encouragement is dapat pinapractice pa rin natin. Sabi sa 1 Thessalonians 5:11, encourage one another and build each other up. So wag tayong maging madamot. Wag tayong maging madamot sa pagbibigay ng mga positive comments o feedbacks, especially when we know someone is struggling from a mental or socio-emotional difficulty or struggle. Hindi ko alam kung applicable pa rin ito sa atin. Last few slides, I know I'm time na. Realize the gift of Sabbath by the Lord. It is sabi ni Dr. Dobson, na family counselor in the US. Sabbath is called the sacred rhythm of rest. We learn how to rest. Mga no-brainer activity. It enables our mind, soul, and body, our emotion to be rested so that we get to prevent ourselves from malfunctioning. And then God is all honored kapag hindi natin sinasagad ang ating mga sarili. We learn how to breathe, take in the grace and the mercy and the blessings of God every time we breathe out. Pag ginagawa natin 659, and you realize our rest comes from God. Tawag naman nila dito ay spiritual pausing. Yung mga intentional silencing our hearts, meditating, closing our eyes, appreciating the chirping of the bird, watching the dancing trees and the branches, seeing God in everything, for you to be recharged, for you to acknowledge that God is with you. And then you expose yourself to a divine lover who does not change his mind in terms of being attentive to you and to your plight. And then you realize He is in a serious business of restoring you to life, health, vitality, so that you can face another day of struggling even in the midst of pandemic. It's called spiritual pausing, a conscious decision to acknowledge the presence of God. Matthew 11:28 says, lumapit kayo sa akin, kayong lahat na nahihirapan at nabibigatan sa inyong mga pasanin, at kayo ay bibigyan ko ng kapahingahan. Come to me, all you who are tired and heavily laden, and I will give you rest. I hope I leave this last portion. I can speak more of my spirituality, integrating our active and practical spirituality in lieu with our desire to cope with the pandemic. And I hope I get to share them sa ating question and answer. So from here, I'd like to especially thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so attentive. I hope that the Lord gave you that capacity to take you home with you. Nasa bahay na pala kayo. Some of the holistic ways, the therapeutic ways, how to take care of yourself even in the time of pandemic. So thank you and God bless you.
Pastor Archie. First of all, thank you for discussing yung mga effects of us being exposed and we might undergoing all the changes, issues to us psychologically, socially, and our mindset and so on. So I assume many of us came to realize that experiencing yung mga ganong side effects of this long pandemic, which are not before we are not aware of. And thank you po for discussing the possible ways and strategy to personally address it and care and be aware of ourselves more. And also for further touching all the all-time issue regarding stress, which is indeed even more alarming as more people were experiencing it due to the effects of the pandemic. And for also discussing as well yung mga manifestation nito sa atin. It made us enable na to be aware in observing ourselves or people close to us that might be manifesting the said manifestations. And also, most significantly, for cope up with it and address it and gradually adjust ourselves, adapt, practice, and develop new habits and practice for to feel even better and to manage ourselves more despite this is still ongoing pandemic. And finally, for clarifying some points and sharing to us legit and factual information, especially po that some of us are now living in a post-truth society and all the fake news surrounding us, especially in the social media. So now we will be proceeding to our question and answer portion. And to moderate our question and answer portion, can we call on Ms. Rachel D. Dela Cruz, the President of the YWCA Quezon City District 3 and member of the Global and Local Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Daniela. Thank you. Hi, Pastor Archie. Thank you for that very fruitful message. Okay, so we have some questions here. Tinamaan ako doon sa diet sa turo mo. Okay, sabi ho rito, I just graduated from college and was looking forward to working. Then COVID happened. Until now, I have not found a job. How do I cope with it? Because I'm already feeling discouraged and hopeless.
Thank you. The question has been posed several times no kapag whenever I do webinars like this, particularly kapag ikaw ay young people, a young professional, a newly grad na supposedly mga aspirations and plans mo after graduations kasi hindi mo natin anticipate ng pandemic ay nag-stop yon, nagkaroon ng major adjustment. As I've said kanina, it's okay to identify or pay attention to the feeling of discouragement and disappointment because it's normal to feel that way just validates you being a person who is very normal sapagkat it's a normal response to abnormal situations. Normalizing an emotion to a fitting situation is very helpful at all because we get to be more realistic. No, kapag nangyari yon, that could be a jump start to be more open, to be more conscious of what is happening that are beyond our control. So number one is normalize. Tapos right around you when you start thinking of yourself less, no? Mag-iiwasan na pagiging self-centered. Nakita mo that there are people around you who have deeper issues like mas matinding lang problema, baka walang makain, walang pamilya, o baka may sakit o na-confine sa ospital. O kaya ay tas makita mo yung sarili mo, wala kang nakitang trabaho pero at least wala kang sakit. Wala kang mga symptoms, hindi ka symptomatic. O kaya you realize the members of your family is intact and then you have food to eat on your table. Nangyari dyan, you develop that gratitude, kasi sinasabi ni Paul, yung learn yung contentment with gratitude. No, and you get to be worshipful and thankful to God na wala ka mang work ngayon pero you realize there are more important things and you be grateful to the Lord, no, like health and family and connection and food. Tapos pangatlo, I would say na maliban sa validating and normalizing your emotions sa situation aside from being grateful also ay if you know how to to be friends with computer, no, exploring, no, the blessings of internet, you may be able to find mga online works. Hindi man ganun ka-profitable or not really linked with your profession. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag sa career counseling na mga may mga transferable skills. Yung mga secondary passion mo na may be of interest then that can be done online, and you will realize that a lot of companies have been adapting and recruiting and hiring people sa online basis that maybe you need to start exploring. No, you just don't have to be to just focus lang sa isang on-site work na which I think malabong mangyari. I was talking to a professor in Ateneo. Alam niyo ba, FYI, I think some of you have relatives in Ateneo. They are projecting yung work nila online hanggang 2025. Hanggang 2025. So my goodness, it's not being very pessimistic, pero I think a little bit of being realistic and trying to adapt and anticipate ay isang bagay na nakakabigay sa kanila, okay, I must do all I can to at least survive and thrive sa panahon ng pandemic. So nakakatulong 'yon. And then explore other activities for amusement and entertainment. Kasi kung nakafocus ka lang isang bagay, it will leave you frustrated and hopeless and helpless. So try to do equally important mga expressive alternatives and to keep your sanity in place and as you juggle all the things that are making sense to you every single day.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Second question is, I'm working from home, but I always end up sleeping. What can I do to help me be productive and alert while working at home?
Sino ba nagtanong yan kasi? Sino ba yung nag-oversleep din? Tapos pag ano pa sa salamin, ang taba-taba ako na. Ganun, no? Guilty. Ano gagawin ko? Diet ako ng diet, kain ng kain. Pero yung pala tulog siya ng tulog. So, watch your diet. If Daniel Amen would, baka kasi may mga bagay na nag-i-induce ng sleep. May mga kinakain tayo na nag-i-induce ng sleep. Pangalawa, observe your routine. Baka minsan kasi ay yung pattern ng pagtulog ay hindi tayo nagiging mindful or very vigilant. Pangatlo, kasi ang nangyari kasi niyan, no offense I feel nangyayari sa akin ito. Nung binigyan ako ng libreng account ng isa kong good friend sa Netflix, there are times that I would sleep 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. No, kahit ako professional, kahit ako na counselor na at pastor na, lumalagpas ako sa supposedly tinuturo ko, I cannot practice what I preach. So I become guilty. So anong oras ako gigising yan? 11:00 kasi 'di ba sabi ko sa inyo, I get to be mindful, dapat 7 hours tulog ako to become productive. Pagising ko, mag-aalas 12 na. Ang dami kong nasayang na oras ng umaga, dapat naglaba ko, nagtanggap ng counseling o parang nag-work sa church pero hindi ko na magawa. So naging abnormal yung aking sleeping habit. It takes discipline then to routinize and schedule our body to be in bed, no? On bed. Ano ba 'yan? Kamali pa sa struggle pa sa preposition para yung routine natin. And then pangatlo, I suggest that you do yung sacred space, yung honoring the space. Tingnan mo sa bahay ninyo, baka pwede ka makapag-develop ng isang room where you can study. Wala kang gagawin doon, hindi ka pwede dumukdok o maglaro, no? When you're there, you're supposed to condition your mind, you're there to study. You're there to study. So honoring that sacred space. Pang-apat, nakatulong kung meron kang accountability. Sa akin it helps It may be helpful to some of you. Accountability partner or friend o kasamahan sa organization who will check on you, who know your struggle, who can probably monitor you every now and then. Have you been doing well? Nagpo-progress ka ba sa paraan ng pagtulog o kaya sa productivity? Especially if you do that, yung schedule and develop a routine, you're very conscious of the things that you are supposed to accomplish every day or every week. Kasi mga bagay yung nakakatulong. Tapos, ang suggestion ko dito for that person, I'm assuming that the person is a woman, no? Look for something to reward yourself by in celebration of your little accomplishment at the end of the week. Look for me, oh yay, naging matagumpay ako. Kahit little mga minчин steps na nagawa ko, pero it's okay for you to yourself to be rewarded sa Sabado o kaya Sunday. Little things that are doable, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Marami yung nagpapasalamat din dito. At sabi pa ni Rizalyn, kanina daw may migraine siya, pero dahil habang nakikinig siya sa'yo, nawala daw yun.
Ay, wow.
Na-relieve siya. Thank you, Lord. Okay, so our third question. I'm getting Zoom fatigue already. I miss my friends and going out. Most of the time, I'm in front of the computer, but I can no longer understand what my teacher is saying. Please advise me what to do because I don't want to be taken out of the honor roll.
The person is a student, ano? Nakakatuwa yun. This is very good to hear that the pandemic will not hinder you from realizing or sustaining your desire to be on the honor list because you seem to be a very smart and diligent student. So whoever posed that question, yun palang let me congratulate you. Sana all, sabi nga nila, no? Sana all hindi basta nahahamper o nagiging hindered by the pandemic for you to keep focus on your dreams. Ang taas ng optimism mo. So you have to keep that, no? You have to preserve that desire to keep pursuing that all by the grace of God, even in the midst of pandemic. That these two will stop, no? Sa sovereignty ng ating Panginoon. So what do you do, ano? I said kanina, ano, when you're suffering from Zoom fatigue, I'm glad you're able to realize that, at which I think I mentioned that kanina. So take care of your body because too much radiation, too much strain to the eyes will make you irritated, yung watery eyes. Tapos secret lang natin to, no? May kaibigan din kasi ako na dermatologist, no? She suggested, babae kasi siya, sabi niya, binigyan niya ako ng sunblock to take care of my face because she knows that I am exposed too much sa mga online work, no, radiation. Sabi niya, ito pangalaga sa sarili mo yan. Yung mga para sa radiation yan, tapos moisturizer ka, sabi niya, bumili mo to sa Watson, yung mga pack yung sa gabi before you sleep, yung mga parang dito sa under your eye bag, especially kung hindi na eye bag yata, eye luggage na yata, no? Tapos ang sarap talaga, iniref ko yun. Tapos every night I put that, sabi ko, wow, what a way to be conscious of my face and to be conscious of my body because I think God is happy when I take care of my, because I've been working all day, online lahat. So I think this is a good way to become a good steward. So take care of your face, take care of your body. Tapos parang isa pa yung every now and then after 40 minutes of 40 to 1 hour of parang staying online sa screen, no? Reward your eyes by staying looking outside for about 20 feet, no? Para medyo masana yung far-sightedness or near-sightedness mo so that you will not experience that irritating palpitations around your eyes. Tapos green therapy, no? If your mother is a plantita, if your father is a plantita or kuya mo, to appreciate, mag-volunteer kang diligan yung mga halaman na yan and appreciate the greenness, no, of the plants outside your room o kaya sa bintana ninyo. And then when you realize, okay, I've had so much minutes na, balik ka na ulit sa work mo. Zoom fatigue is happening to each and everyone. So kailangan may mga amusement din tayo at mga entertainment. Minsan, when sabi mo rin kanina, you're beginning to miss your friends, di ba? That's very good kasi alam mo, you realize that you are still, no, you're not isolated, you are not withdrawn, and you are a social being who need the significant presence of your friends although virtually kayo. Here is a thing naman from Washington Post, no, a US-based research company. Sabi niya, the best way to keep our relationality and connectedness sa panahon ng pandemic, keep your mindful thoughtfulness nowadays. Mag-initiate tayo. Kailangan, you have to initiate. How are you doing, my friend? Can we possibly do a group chat? Magkwentuhan tayo. Hindi ito aral-aral. Ito yung mga chismisan, a good chismisan. Para, no, you know what that means? No? Sa mga parang anything under the sun that will make you feel na hindi ito mandated, hindi ito graded. Ito ay parang to pay attention to you being a relational being so that basta it helps, no? It helps because the study of Washington Post ay parang na we can still enjoy and maximize the virtual connection should people be interested to keeping it, no, amidst of the challenges. So yun ang pwede natin magawa kasi yun lang ang pwedeng we cannot cross the borders or boundaries, otherwise we will be putting ourselves in dangers and too much threats if we wrestle with the boundaries and limitation brought about the pandemic.
Thank you. Yung fourth question natin is how to take care of the family, especially during this pandemic. And the good news is this will be our topic for next month. Taking care of our families during crisis. Parenting.
Okay. Do not be a stressor to your family. Everyone is being stressed. So spare them, spare yourself and spare them from creating more stress. No? Okay. You know, I preached two Sundays ago eh. I read this from from I forgot the name of the but I think it makes sense. Sabi niya, sa panahon ng pandemic, we have to be very conscious of releasing loving, affirmative, and demonstrative words to the people that we love because we may never know that will be the last time that we will be with them. Nakakabahala, pero kung ang bilis kasi ngayon di ba? In a matter of week, na a person may probably contract the virus and die. No, I don't mean to sound very pero parang it's a reality that may happen to us. So sabi nitong existentialist na ito, I forgot the name, I'm so sorry, pero I think it really does make sense to us. The best way to maximize our familial connection is that take it as your last day. So do not be a stressor. Let's think na it may be the last thing that you can actually verbalize, so affirm your connectivity with one another so that walang regrets. Walang regrets kapag when unfortunate things would happen, you know that you did your part, you exhausted all the means you can to be more patient. So, pangalawa, parang you come to God. You come to God so that the Holy Spirit will enable us to be more compassionate. When say compassionate, you learn how to magmalasakit. You learn how to suppress your anger or irritation or your tendency mo to lash out or to be very critical. Now, magkakano ngayon, you will be more accommodating. You will be more, kapag ginawa natin yung deep breathing, yung nervous system reset, hihinga ka. Pag magagalit ka, instead of lashing out or shouting, or remember the 659 breathing technique. And then you kita mo, it does wonder to you. Hindi ka na kagad magkagalit. Kaya naman, lalabas ka. No? Simply breathe out the air. No, kurutin mo yung mga halaman. Pag gagalit ka, pisilin mo yung mga yung mga cactus mo doon hanggang sa ikaw pala yung nasusugatan na. Kurutin mo yung mga water lily mo kaya mga pothos mo sa labas hanggang sa ikaw ang pagalitan hampasin. So divert no yung tendency. At saka I think it's appreciate. Sabi ni I don't sound to be a little bit morbid. If some of you were able to read yung Tuesdays with Maury, sabi niya, you would learn the virtue or the gift of life when you realize that you can die anytime. Sabi niya parang you will learn how to live the moment you start thinking that you can die anytime. Tapos kapag inisip mo rin, sabi ni Maury, you think about your family and your loved ones. You put high premium in your connectivity because parang at the end of the day, you will realize that God did not make a mistake, that He pulled you together. No, and all you need to do is to exhaust all means by the grace of God to dispense and replenish a lot of means how to practice love, compassion, and grace, and mercy, and forgiveness. No, sabi ng kantang Ben and Ben, my favorite band. No, you cannot love without forgiving. So to forgive is to love. So keep practicing that, especially when tensions or conflicts are arising in the household.
Okay, thank you, Pastor. Ang dami talaga namin natutunan sa umaga nito. So that's it for question and answer. So, back to you, Daniela.
Yeah, and thank you again, Miss Rachel Dela Cruz, for moderating our question and answer. And also thank you again, Pastor Archie, for the meaningful message. I'm sure na maraming natututunan yung ating mga members today as I've read all the thank yous from all our attendees. Now, moving on with our program, our talk today, can we call on Mrs. Nerissa Liena for the presentation of the Certificate of Appreciation for to Miss Rachel De La Cruz as the moderator and to Pastor Archie De La Cruz as our resource speaker.
Thank you, Daniela. On behalf of the National Council, I will be reading the citation. Of course, we have our chairperson, Ma'am Remy, and our vice president for program is here. Let me read the citation. The Young Women's Christian Association of the Philippines, the Global and Local Affairs Committee, in partnership with the Amara Counseling and Training Center, presents the Certificate of Appreciation to Ms. Rachel T. De La Cruz, Member, Global and Local Affairs Committee, for her invaluable contribution as moderator, which led to the success of the Y Talk series on the topic self-care and management during the pandemic, held on August 14, 2021, 10 a.m. via Zoom. Given this 14th day of August in the year of our Lord 2021, signed by Ms. Remedios Obi Comong, Chairperson, Global and Local Affairs Committee, yours truly, and of course signed by Ms. Lilia A. Perinas, National President. Thank you so much, Ms. Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Another certificate of appreciation is given to Pastor Archie Dela Cruz, Resident Counselor, Amara Counseling and Training Center, for his invaluable contribution as resource speaker, which led to the success of Y Talk series on the topic self-care and management during the pandemic, held on August 14, 2021, 10 a.m. via Zoom, given this 14th day of August in the year of our Lord 2021. Of course, signed by Ms. Remedios Obi Comong, Chairperson, Global and Local Affairs Committee, yours truly, and of course signed by our National President, Ms. Lilia A. Farinas. Thank you so much,
Maraming
Pastor.
salamat po, Ma'am Neri. I'm deeply honored receiving this. Thank you so much, everyone.
Back to you, Daniela.
Thank you po again, Ma'am Neri. So before we on with our closing remarks and our short announcement, can we have a short photo off? Can we have a group picture with all the participants? Can everybody please turn on your videos for our photo off?
Okay po, I'll count 1 to 3 po. 2 shots po tayo. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, isa pa po. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you po.
Yeah, and again, thank you everyone. For our closing remarks, can we now may call on Mrs. Erlinda Dotario, the Vice President for Program WCA of Philippines.
Blessed morning to everyone. Allow me to express our profound gratitude and heartfelt thanks to our resource speaker, Pastor Archie de la Cruz, for enlightening us on the importance of self-care and management on this time of pandemic, and our moderator, Ms. Excel de la Cruz. The COVID-19 pandemic has radically changed the way we live, from our work to our learning, to our social selves. Our new reality passes and unique self-challenges for all of us. Now more than ever, practicing self-care and management is essential when it comes to taking care of our emotional health and well-being. Self-care is the best behavior we can to take care of our own health, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It is okay to have fun and be silly. And when we are able to take care of ourselves, we are stronger, more resilient, and able to take care of others. And this is what we need now. Life goes by so quickly. One day we can feel great, and the next broken. The pandemic teaches us to appreciate the little things. Nothing is permanent. So be thankful for all the blessings. Life is so precious. Stay blessed, stay safe, and good morning again to everyone.
Thank you again, Ma'am Erlinda. And also, thank you again to all our participants today. So I have a question for everyone. Did you all enjoy our Y Talk this morning, especially tackling our topic for today and our question and answer and everything that has happened to our Y Talk? If you enjoyed this Y Talk this morning, can you please give me a thumbs up, whether you are giving me thumbs up on your video or kahit yung thumbs up lang using our Zoom. You can also give any reaction. You can give a heart and all the other reactions. Yan. I can see some reactions na. Thank you po. Now, we just would like to remind everybody that the YWCA of the Philippines and its local associations are open for membership. If you want to be a part of the movement that seeks to improve the lives of young women, so they can be our future leaders, please message us on Facebook. Please don't hesitate to message us on Facebook if you want to be a member of the YWCA of the Philippines and its local associations. And again, I would like to thank you, everyone, all our attendees, all our guests, our resource speaker, and everyone who coordinated for our Y Talk this morning. Again, I am Daniela Ortiz, and see you again in our next Y Talk series. It will be, please mark the date, it will be on September 11, 2021, and our topic will be parenting in times of crisis. So again, it will be a very meaningful topic. So I hope to see everyone here today. So again, please invite your parents and your friends for our next Y Talk series. Again, the topic is parenting in times of crisis. That will be in September 11, 2021. Same time, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Again, thank you, everyone. Please invite your parents and your friends and everyone you can invite for our next Y Talk series. Thank you and God bless you all. God bless.